Thank you for joining us today, AJ Hesselink, who's the Brand Comms and Digital Manager of APAC at Philips. Who's just come off the stage of Social Media Matters. So why don't we just start off by, it's quite interesting in hearing the change that Philips is going through as a business. Why don't we start off by just talking about that?
Philips is going through tremendous changes at this point. We are becoming one of the leading integrated players in healthcare, lighting, and consumer health and wellness, from a past where we were a vertically integrated consumer electronics company, or at least a company focused on that business. That is a sea change. They're very, very different businesses. The healthcare business is obviously a very different business from the consumer electronics business. The professional lighting business is a very different business from the traditional consumer lighting business. So what that means for us is that we need to find completely new ways of engaging our end customers and our target audiences with our propositions, with the solutions that we have, and also with the vision we have for creating a better world through the solutions and the products that we are providing and the innovation that we have and that we're developing.
Okay, so with Philips' changing business then, what are the challenges that you're finding in engaging these consumers who are both B2B and the B2C side?
The biggest challenge that I find in this part of the world, and I don't think it's very different in other parts of the world, is that the brand understanding, the brand familiarity of the consumers, B2C consumers, as well as on the B2B side, is not entirely in parallel with how we are changing as a company.
Okay.
So people still understand us for who we were, the world's leading manufacturer of televisions, for instance, but we're not anymore. We are now a company in very different and very clearly defined and chosen businesses. And what we need to do, the biggest challenge I think we have, is consistently build programs and build engagement platforms that explain to people who we are becoming, and take them along on the ride and build a relationship with them in which they support us in that direction. And they want to be part of it in the sense that they believe that the solutions that we are developing for the future will have a positive impact on their lives.
Right. Could you give us a couple of examples of what you're doing maybe?
Indonesia is a good example. It's a big part of the cluster that I'm looking after, where we have a fantastic brand. Everybody knows it. Awareness is 100%. Nothing to worry about there, apart from the fact that most of the awareness is in the lighting business, the traditional consumer lighting business. That is not a problem in itself, but it is a challenge if you actually want to build your business in healthcare and in consumer health and wellness. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we don't erode that equity that we have in the consumer lighting business when it comes to our brand, and at the same time recalibrate people and people's thinking towards healthcare and toward professional lighting and consumer health and wellness.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like technology and innovation is a key part of both Philips' business and the way that you are engaging with consumers. Is there any kind of advice that you would give other brands who are maybe starting on this road of innovation in both, in terms of how they're engaging with consumers or their end customers?
Yeah, indeed. Technology is our lifeblood. It's always been and it always will be. Out of technology comes innovation that improves the quality of people's lives, and that's what we're here to do. What I would strongly recommend everybody is to, if you are embarking on these type of changes to your company, to your model, don't isolate yourself while you're doing it. Develop a narrative on the company that you're trying to become, in a way that explains to people why you're doing it, from the perspective of the benefits that it will bring them. I think that's what we have done as well. I think we have developed a narrative. We've built a storyline around this, which explains to people why it is so important that we adapt to these times, that we stop playing in lower margin businesses in consumer electronics, and rather, deploy our innovation power and our R&D spending to businesses where we can make a real meaningful and tangible difference to the quality of people's lives. And we've consistently tried to do that in a way where we take people by the hand in that journey.
Right. Okay. Well, one area that I was quite interested in seeing in the presentation was the focus on the healthcare side of the business. How much relevance do you think social media has in a B2B environment, and how does that drive revenue directly with your B2B customers? Is it measurable, do you think?
Oh yeah, it is. It is. It's more resilient than the B2C space, of course.
Okay.
But absolutely, and I'll give one example. It's a project that we've done in Indonesia where we crowdsourced with people what their desires were and what their concerns were when it came to healthcare. And it turned out that in Indonesia, women are very concerned about breast cancer. It's also very prevalent there, so that's understandable. And at the same time, we realized they don't seem to know a lot about it. So we created, together with B2B stakeholders, we created a big program which aimed to inform people in Indonesia about the risks of breast cancer, what it is, what can happen when you have it, how you can self-examine. And together with those B2B stakeholders, we created that. We also created a program on the back of that which connected women that were indeed suffering from breast cancer to hospitals and to get them into treatment plans and things like that. And what that did for us is by combining B2C social engagement with partnerships on the B2B level, we were actually able to build our brand in the B2C space toward the healthcare side of things and establish partnerships with organizations and stakeholders on the B2B side that we did not have yet. And those, of course, have a potential to convert into business, and in fact they did, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're killing a couple of birds with one stone, right?
Yeah. And how difficult was it to get that kind of program approved by this kind of senior managers who were looking, the bottom line?
Sure. That's never easy. At the same time, when I talk about Philips right now, I think senior management is so excited about the changes that we're going through and about the opportunity to actually really make a big impact on people's lives, which is what we're here to do. That the willingness to buy into these type of programs and invest in them and start them up and progress them and try to drive them as meaningful as we can for the business, that willingness seems to be bigger than ever at this point. And that is a very positive and hopeful thing.
So thank you, AJ, for joining us again today. Is there anything else you want to tell us before you leave?
I think my biggest learning of the last couple of years was that people indeed want to be part of something. Social is a lot of fun. It's great. You can hang out there. It's fantastic. You meet friends. Engage. But you can also collectively drive change. And I think some of the campaigns that we've done aimed to do that. And that is precisely where I saw engagement levels and types of engagement which I have never seen before on social media. People writing whole essays about what they would like to see done, the change that they would like to drive, creating videos, drawing, pictures of how things would look, how innovations could look, and that is fantastic. And I think that merging of, wanting to be part of something and wanting to drive something meaningful via social platforms is just, for me, it's one of the most inspiring things I've seen in a long, long time.
Great, thank you very much for your time today.